In 15 years in Hollywood, no one in Hollywood has a memory of going to a sold-out Kevin Hart show, there being a line for him ever getting a standing ovation.
And people get caught up in the illusion of Hollywood. People really get caught up in this.
All right, buckle up because this story is about to get messy. We've entered the stormy seas of Hollywood scandal, where careers are built on whisperers and reputations are crushed with a single headline. Shannon Sharpe, the Hall of Fame athlete, turned charismatic media powerhouse, is caught in a whirlwind of accusations, threats, and explosive revelations. But let's not pretend this is some simple scandal. No, this is a full-blown spectacle with layers upon layers of drama at the center of. It all power plays personal vendettas and a chess game so intricate, it's hard to tell who's making the next move or who's already been checkmated.
Alrighty, y'all. So the Shannon Sharpe ESPN, does he still keep his job conversation is beginning to, I was going to say beginning to happen, but it's been happening, but I think now it's beginning to get louder because of different things that Attorney Busby has released, including the audios. So right now the conversation is, why is Shannon Sharpe still able to be on ESPN?
Let's start with the audio, the clip that hit the internet like a Category 5 hurricane in. A voice alleged to be Shannon Sharpe's threatens a woman in the most shocking terms imaginable. If you say that word one more time, I'm going to choke the light out of you when I see you, and when she nervously responds, I don't want to be choked. The alleged male voice doubles down with, yes, you do, you don't have a choice in the matter. The outrage was instant, and the fallout was nuclear. Social media erupted, headlines blared, and suddenly the man who made his name debating Stephen Smith on First Take was facing a very different kind of public scrutiny. But here's the catch: this isn't just a story about a damning audio clip. No. This is a saga of contradictions, blurred lines, and a tangled web of relationships. Shannon's legal team fired back with their own bombshell text messages allegedly sent by the accuser, which paint a very different picture of their dynamic. The messages, filled with provocative language and explicit requests, suggest a relationship rooted in role-playing and boundary pushing. One message even reads, I want you to put a color on me and pull me around. Another states, you know you missed this $25,000 for each cheek. Whether you believe the texts or the accusations, one thing is clear: this is not a one-sided narrative.
And that the sex was about handcuffs, choking, putting on dog collars. Do you get those?
And then there's Tony Busby, the lawyer representing Shannon's accuser. If that name sounds familiar, it's because Busby has built a career out of high-profile cases that seem tailor-made for tabloid fodder. He's gone toe-to-toe with everyone from NFL players to music mogul, and his style is as controversial as the clients he represents. In this case, Busby has been relentless, describing Shannon as controlling, abusive, and manipulative. According to him, this isn't just about one incident. It's about a pattern of behavior that allegedly turned toxic long before. The lawsuit hit the courts.
On Easter Sunday, a lawsuit was filed in state court in Nevada against Hall of Fame tight end Shannon Sharpe because he has become such a massive media star, especially in the past few years. The lawsuit is going to attract a lot of attention.
But wait, it gets even murkier. Busby alleges that Shannon's team is trying to gaslight the public, using the explicit text messages to discredit his client. He's called their defense strategy a classic case of victim blaming, and he claims the texts are being taken out of context to muddy the waters. And let's be real, in a case like this, context is everything. Were these messages part of a consensual relationship, or were they twisted into something darker? The truth, as they say, is somewhere in the shadows, and everyone involved seems determined to keep it there.
Shannon Sharpe says he's temporarily stepping away from ESPN in the wake of a $50 million lawsuit accusing him of. A woman filed suit against Sharpe on Sunday, accusing him of raping her twice in the last 6 months.
What makes this even more jaw-dropping is the timing. Shannon Sharpe wasn't just any media figure, he was riding a wave of success. That seemed unstoppable. His podcast club, Shay Shay, was a cultural phenomenon. His debates on First Take were must-watch television. He had endorsement deals, a massive social media following, and a reputation as a straight shooter who wasn't afraid to call it like he saw it, and now all of that is hanging by a thread. He stepped away from his ESPN role, and insiders are already speculating about whether this might be the end of his media career altogether.
Also playing that he was leading. No, we've never heard of that before that person or since that person. What do you think a plant is?
But let's zoom out for a second, because this story isn't just about Shannon Sharpe, it's about the Hollywood machine and the way it chews people up and spits them out. Enter Katt Williams, the outspoken comedian who's never been afraid to. Name names and Spill Tea Cat has been on a rampage claiming that this whole mess is part of a larger conspiracy to take Shannon down. According to Katt, Shannon's downfall is being orchestrated by none other than Kevin Hart, the comedy mirror who Katt has been beefing with for years, and let's be clear, this isn't just idle gossip. Katt came with receipts.
Right, and now, a lot of times people just are who they are. And you're looking at Shannon, his brand has never really been anything that said he might not be into some of the things that we're learning, right? You could go back to the IG Live, or you could listen to some of the things that he promotes as sponsors of his show, or just certain ways he talks about women.
He's accused Kevin of working with industry executives to exploit Shannon's weaknesses, specifically his alleged preference for younger women. Katt even went as far as to suggest that the accuser was planted in Shannon's life as part of a calculated takedown. And if that wasn't wild enough, Katt has tied this back to his own history, with Kevin claiming that Kevin's entire career was built on selling out and playing the Hollywood game, according to Katt. Anyone who doesn't play by the rules, anyone who doesn't conform, is a target. It's a lot to unpack. But here's the kicker. Kevin Hart hasn't exactly stayed silent. He's fired back at Katt, calling his accusations sad and implying that Katt is simply bitter about his own career struggles. Kevin has positioned himself as the ultimate success story, a self-made star who overcame the odds to become one of the most bankable names in Hollywood, but Katt isn't buying it. He's painted Kevin as an industry puppet, someone who's willing to do whatever it takes to stay on top, even if it means throwing other black entertainers under the business.
About the lawsuit against Shannon Sharpe. Now, this one has some very strong allegations. Assault, assault and battery, intentional infliction of emotional distress. The components obviously give it greater gravity than a car accident or any case based on some sort of negligent slip and fall, something like that, where someone was just being...
And that brings us back to Shannon. Is he a victim of Hollywood politics, caught in the crossfire of a feud that has nothing to do with him? Or is he an architect of his own downfall, someone whose personal choices have finally caught up with him? The truth is, there are no easy answers. Here, what we're left with is a messy, complicated, and deeply human story. It's a story about power ambition and the lengths people will go to protect their empires. But most of all, it's a story that's far from over. Because if there's one thing we know about Hollywood, it's that the real drama always happens behind the scenes.
But Tony Busby says this is key evidence in our case against Mr. Sharpe, so it will not be coming out. He will not be leaking this.
And saying basically it's going to come out during the trial.
Right.
If there's a trial.
If there's a trial, it will come out, which to me sounds like he's still dangling it over Shannon's head to say, we can meet, we can settle this, or we can go forward into a trial, and then the video is going to come out. Now,
and here's where things spiral even further into the abyss. Because while Shannon Sharpe is staring down the barrel of public outrage and legal warfare, the ripple effects of his downfall are dragging other names into the mud, and not quietly. Kevin Hart may have brushed off Katt Williams' accusations as sad, but let's not pretend he's untouchable in this saga. The whispers are getting louder, and the dots people are connecting, whether they're real or not, are painting a picture that's impossible to ignore. Let's talk about Gabriela Zuniga, the woman whose accusations have thrown Shannon's life into chaos. What's easy to miss in all the noise is her alleged connection to a prominent Hollywood family. If the rumors are true, she's not just some random name. It's alleged she's related to Daphne Zuniga, an actress who's been tied to some powerful figures in the entertainment world. This isn't just a case of one person accusing another. This is a story with tendrils that extend deep into the underbelly of Hollywood politics. And if that's not enough to make your head spin, there's the theory floated by none other than Katt Williams that Gabriela wasn't an accuser. She was a pawn, a carefully placed piece on a chessboard designed to take Shannon down.
You know what the number one job of somebody that sold their soul in Hollywood is? What? Is to act like it didn't happen.
Who would be behind such a master stroke of manipulation? Katt has made no effort to mince words. He's pointing the finger squarely at Kevin Hart. According to Katt, Kevin is a willing player in a system that rewards compliance and punishes dissent. And while Kevin might laugh this off, the narrative Katt is spinning is both damning and disturbingly plausible. Think about it. Kevin has spent years building an empire, and he's done it by staying in Hollywood's good graces. He's the guy who plays the game, who makes the deals, who toes the line. But if you believe Katt, All of that success comes at a cost, and part of that cost, according to Katt, is making sure that anyone who doesn't play by the same rules is left in the dust, or worse, publicly destroyed.
Yes, and another interesting thing too, and this is why I said, I've never seen anybody handle a situation worse than Shannon and his team. After this came out, we would have never known about that so-called video if it wasn't for Shannon Sharp.
Yes.
Shannon jumped out there and revealed that video existed. And he did that for no reason because they wasn't even planning on putting it up.
But here's the kicker. Kevin's not just being accused of benefiting from Shannon's downfall. Katt suggesting he orchestrated it, and when you start to unpack the timeline, things get even messier. Shannon's public controversies didn't just come out of nowhere. They bubbled up after years of him being one of Hollywood's most outspoken figures. He's the guy who called out hypocrisy, who didn't shy away from saying the uncomfortable truths. And as Katt would have you believe, that made him a target. A target for an industry that doesn't like when people step out of line, a target for people who stand to gain from his absence.
Essence from Atlanta, him refusing to look at the evidence just gives me the impression that he wants plausible deniability, and maybe the evidence should be released so that way he does not deny his actions. I mean, if that was me, I would definitely want to look at the evidence to see what I did and did not do so I can maintain my innocence.
And let's not forget the role of the media in all of this. Because while Shannon's team has been scrambling to control the narrative, the leaks keep coming first. It was the audio clip, then it was the text messages. Now there are whispers of a video that if it exists would make the scandal even harder for Shannon to escape. And while Shannon's attorney has called it a manipulative edit, the damage is already done whether or not the video ever sees the light of day. The mere suggestion of its existence has people choosing sides.